Welcome to my channel, Homestead Patch. I'm glad that you joined me today. I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about some things that I'm going to be adding to my channel over 2024 that might be of interest to you. I hope that they are. So when we talk about homesteading, it's not always about just having a garden or having trees and canning and preserving. There's so many more things that are involved in people who are homesteaders. So the main concept of homesteading is being self-reliant and self-sustaining in all times, whether they're good or bad. And right now, with the rising inflation, the cost that it costs every time you go to the grocery store, it seems like you're pulling out a couple $100 or a lot more for something that you paid $50 for just a couple years ago. It's really scary what's happening. So I just want to talk to you about one of the playlists that I'm going to be starting is how to start a victory garden. Now, back in World War I and World War II, the government, the USDA actually put out all kinds of information to families, actually in our country, all throughout the United States, but there were victory gardens going on all over the world, in Canada and Britain, all kinds of places. But in the United States, the USDA put out a list of items that each family could grow to really help them be more self-sustaining. Back then, with the Depression, World War II, all that stuff going on, canned goods were hard to get to the grocery stores, fresh vegetables, there were a lot of issues, and people were being rationed food so that they could survive. And so they came up with the idea to have people grow their own food. Now, a lot of that has changed. A lot of that has, kind of gone back to the ways of buying things prepared and all that kind of thing. But there's so much you can do. Even if you don't have a big backyard or you've just got a little patio, or even if you're gardening in your kitchen, they've got all kinds of hydroponics now and all kinds of things to really help you with your gardening if it's something that you want to do. So we're going to be designing a victory garden back from the time of World War I and World War II. And these are going to be the things that the USDA suggested growing. And we're going to do our garden this year just like they suggested. And see what happens. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about that I'm going to be adding to my channel is going to be real estate and all kinds of things related to buying a home. Now, I'm a licensed real estate broker. I have been for many years. I actually worked as a fraud examiner for many years. And so I just feel like, with rising interest rates and people trying to buy houses for the first time, this might be something interesting too. So I'm going to talk to you about escrow and the process of buying and home inspections and, how to save for a down payment. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about finances. So that's going to be another thing that I'm going to be adding to my channel. Several years ago, my husband and I went through some debt consolidation and then some debt elimination, and we actually really changed our lives. And thankfully we did, because now here I am retired, he's close to retiring, and we're in such a positive place compared to where we were 20 years ago. So I want to share some of those things that might help people that are going through financial troubles or financial challenges, just feeling like maybe they're in a hole and they can't dig their way out of it. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that are going to help you to be able to do that if that's something that you're interested in. So this homesteading channel, Homestead Patch, I am going to be adding all things self-sufficient, not just the basic stuff that I've been doing over the last year. I think that's been really helpful to some people. I've gotten some great comments and some suggestions from people. So this is the direction I really want to take in 2024. I hope if you're not a subscriber that you'll consider subscribing to my channel. And today I'm just going to be showing you some basic ideas about how I start my my plants from seeds. I start off with a heat mat. I get my seeds sprouting. Then I plant them into little cups or little, whatever you have. You really could plant in almost anything. And then later, when the frosts are over, I move them out to my physical garden. So thank you for joining me in advance, and on with the planting. So about 4 or 5 days ago, I decided to start my little seeds, and I have this little heat mat, which I put all my little seeds in separate bags. And so I just write down the names of what the different seeds are. Like in this case, it's lavage. And then I also put in some lime basil. So as these start to sprout, which they're doing, you can actually see them starting to sprout. I go ahead and get them transplanted into pots under grow lights so I can put them out in the spring. So I've taken my little seeds and I've transplanted them into these little, they're basically just little cups. And you can see actually on a couple of them, I only did this yesterday, but they're already coming up. Right here, I've got a little one coming up. And anyway, they do really good under these grow lights. Well, I also have another one here that I had some of these leftover little, I don't even know what they're called, little soil starters. These were just some Abe Lincoln tomatoes. And I put these here so that they would get a little bit of moisture till they came up. But I'm gonna be having a lot more seeds, and I need to move them into their permanent location where they're gonna get a lot of light. So unfortunately, this is their permanent location for the next 2 months. And as you can see, throughout the year since last spring, all I have done is fill it with junk. So I need to clean this out before I get my seeds started. I already have my grow light set up, so I need to rehome some of this stuff. I'm not sure if anybody else does this every year, but I'm the worst. So I'm gonna just clean this little area up, and we're gonna get this prepped for the next week or two. We're gonna have all of our little seedlings growing in here. Is just determine like the height that I want these lights at. I think I'm going to make them just a tad bit higher. I lowered them a little bit, and I think that looks pretty good. Let me go up one more on this. Yeah, that looks good. So the other thing I want to do, I gave all of these a really good soaking from the bottom, but I'm going to do a little spray on the top. I'm not putting a lot of water on. I'm just moistening the top so that when these little seedlings come out, that they're not fighting against the potting soil to do it. And let me show you something. These, I literally planted these yesterday. I started the seeds like 5 days ago, and look at this. I have sprouts. So this is how I start my seeds every year. I wouldn't say it's a big production, but I like to make sure that when the last frost is over, I live in California, I'm in zone 9B. I like to get my little seedlings, actually they're little plants by the time I plant, and I like to get them in the ground as soon as possible. It gets really hot where I live in the summer here, and so I like to give them a quick a start as possible. And there are some things I'm going to go ahead and leave this off now that I've got it under a stronger grow light. And I'm just going to give these a little squirt as well. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that this was of interest to you. I hope that you'll join me over the next 6 to 12 months as we journey together through some victory gardens, through some self-sustaining ideas on the homestead, with some real estate ideas, debt elimination, all kinds of interesting things. So thanks again. Please subscribe and give me a like, a thumbs up, or hit the bell for future notifications. And I'd be more than happy to send you my future videos. So see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.